Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The election campaign has been underway for several weeks now. The party conventions of the Law and Justice Party, the Civic Coalition and the left-wing Together Coalition are set to take place on Saturday. The Polish Parliamentary elections will take place in exactly 30 days from today.
The Polish parliamentary elections will take place in a month. The election campaign has reached its high point. Our duty is to create coherence in our community when it comes to a territorial and social dimension. We have to focus on social politics in order to make sure that people live a good life. The candidate of the Civic Coalition for Prime Minister of Poland, Małgorzata Kidawa-Błońska, met owners of local companies. The Civic Coalition's campaign slogan that has recently appeared is cooperation, not argument.
We're constantly arguing in Poland. We don't respect each other. If we want change in Poland, we have to change ourselves.
According to the Gazeta Prawna Daily, the Law and Justice Party received over 1.5 million signatures on the lists of candidates. Lists don't matter at all. What we have in our manifesto, that's what matters. The latest survey conducted by Ibris gives the United Right over 40% of the votes. The Civic Coalition got almost half of that. For those who claim that the result of the upcoming elections is clear, I can say that they shouldn't be so sure about it. Saturday, the convention of the Law and Justice will take place in Łódź and the Civic Coalitions will take place in Poznań.
On September the 13th, 1939, the German Luftwaffe conducted a barbaric bomb attack on the town of Fram Pole in the southeast of today's Poland. The attack, in which countless civilians lost their lives and the town itself was reduced to ruins, was an experiment for the Germans. By killing innocent civilians, bomber pilots practiced the effectiveness of their strikes. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki visited Fram Pole on the anniversary of this gruesome event.
Cały świat zna taki obraz Guernica.
The whole world knows this famous painting, Guernica, painted by a great Spanish artist, Picasso. Guernica is a little town in the Basque Country in Spain. It was bombed in 1937 also by the Luftwaffe. Around 120 people died due to the barbarism of the German pilots. Fram Pole is a Polish Guernica. It still waits for a Picasso of these times to portray that suffering, the tragedy of a cruel war. Poland prevailed over this cruelty only partially after more than 50 years when we began building our contemporary freedom. We can't close our eyes to the pain and misery of the past. They cry for justice and, as the mayor said, they cry for an apology for Fram Pole as well.
Na Picassa, który namaluje tamto cierpienie.
50 people are confirmed dead, more than 2,500 are still missing, and unimaginable destruction of property. This is the still incomplete assessment of the effect of Hurricane Dorian, which passed over the Bahamas last week. According to meteorologists, this was the most destructive hurricane in the Atlantic in modern history.
More than a week after the Category 5 Hurricane Dorian destroyed part of the Bahamas, we still do not know the final number of victims of the disaster, and rescuers are still searching. Hubert Menes, the Prime Minister of the islands, ordered the flags to be lowered to half-mast on all public buildings.
Many are in despair, wondering if their loved ones are still alive. The official death count in the Bahamas as of the 9th of September is 42 in Abaco and 8 in Grand Bahama, for a total of 50 people. There are many who are still missing. The number of deaths is expected to significantly increase. The grief we will bear as a country begins with the families who have lost loved ones.
The Department of Social Services is the agency managing government register of missing people. This list is compiled based on reports of who is missing. You can register a missing person by calling the missing persons hotline. The numbers are listed on NEMA's Facebook page. Individuals can also visit the Department of Rehabilitative Services and Welfare Services on university boulevards. It's near the university.
Despite the help of volunteers, around 15,000 people still need shelter or food, according to the Caribbean Crisis Management Agency. Residents who were not evacuated from the most affected areas have begun the process of rebuilding their homes.
Yeah, I'm going to stay out. If you see, like right in the back, I'm trying to build an 8x8 because I don't have no place to go. I really don't want to go.
Well, I love the place. You know, it's a beautiful place, and so I decided that that was home for me. And it will always be home. You know, the storm is not going to chase me. I'm not going to leave. I'll be back there, cleaning up, getting everything sorted out, and I'll be back to normal.
World Central Kitchen is a non-profit organization run by the well-known chef Jose Andres, who became famous for feeding people who survived natural disasters. Until now, the organization has given out about 100,000 meals in the Bahamas. 4,800 people were evacuated from several islands in the archipelago. Free flights will continue to transport people who choose to leave the Bahamas. According to the World Food Programme, about 90% of homes, buildings and infrastructure in the Bahamas have been damaged. Thousands of people are living in government buildings or medical centers that have survived storms, but have little or no access to water, electricity and sanitation.
Another debate among candidates for the Democratic Party's nomination for next year's US presidential election took place in Houston, Texas yesterday. According to commentators, the winner of the debate was the favorite to win the nomination, former US Vice President Joe Biden.
I stand with Barack Obama all 8 years, good, bad, and indifferent. That's where I stand. I did not say I did not stand with him.
Okay, thanks for that, but let me just comment on something that the Vice President said. You talked about the big mistake in Iraq and the surge. The truth is, the big mistake, the huge mistake, and one of the big differences between you and me, I never believed what Cheney and Bush said about Iraq.
You're right.
I voted against the war in Iraq and helped lead the opposition. And it's sad to say, I mean, I kind of, had the feeling.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, business and more programs. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.